So I found something interesting today. It's just kind of going over the code a little bit. It might not look like much, but what I've got is two different game modes, one for desktop and one's for VR. This will become more apparent once I get the VR headset. So as you can see here, I've got game mode with desktop in it, and I've got game mode with VR inside of it. And before, when I would switch between these, I always had to go inside the scene, and I had to click on the spline, and I'd have to trigger this on or off. Now the logic basically does it automatically because I found a really useful node. So if I have it on desktop and I just press play, you'll see that the code works fine and the spline itself turns itself off. If I then go back and I change it to VR mode and I press play, it still works fine and we don't get that bug that we had before. If I go to the outliner, you'll see that it's turned itself on. The way I solved this was actually pretty simple. It was quite nice solution. So what I do is I found that you can just get the game mode and you can get its display name, and if it contains VR, it will set the VR mode to either true or false and then continue the logic. So then obviously if it's true, it will do the logic for VR mode, but if it's false, then it will do the logic for this one, which is for desktop. So if we go back to it and we go back to desktop, in theory, if I press play and then go left and right, yeah, the controls work. But if I go to VR and I press play, the controls shouldn't work. Yep. So yeah, it's working as expected without any bugs now. And you don't have to control the outliner now because it does it automatically. I'm just not very happy with the fact that I'm duplicating the logic inside of the game state here, because it has to cast to this mode to get the actor reference. I'm wondering if there's a more generic way of doing this where you just cast to the game mode and get the actor reference that it's created. But it's always, because there was a node where you can get the default pawn class, and I was wondering if you could set the actor reference from this deform class and then feed it into here rather than having to create an if statement and duplicate the logic. For this stage it's not necessarily important right now, but at least it's scalable and it works.